a lot of my presentation today, I'm going to start with some of the background and the why before I actually dive into some examples. So I hope that that will be a nice little balance with all of the amazing resources that people have been sharing out today to kind of take it back for a second and talk about why these ideas are so important for us, why we need to incorporate voice, why we need to incorporate the features that Mote provides for accessibility, for translation, for all this stuff. And I will show some examples also. But again, I'm just like feeling inspired right now. So I want to make this easy for people to have access to the session afterwards, to all the slides, or if you want to interact with me now, I did make this into a little bit of a Pear Deck, my other very favorite app, so that you can interact with me, that you can leave some thoughts on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link into the chat of the YouTube live. So you should see that coming up. And you can choose to engage, or you can choose to just watch. Even if you're watching on the recording, I'm going to leave this open for a while so you can still interact and engage there. All right. And then you can click on all the links too. So let's go ahead and get started. So as just a quick warm up, if you are on live right now and you want to set a little bit of an intention, what is related to the topic of this session, related to Mote, what is one thing you're looking to improve or change in your teaching practice? I like to ask this question because I like to start with the problem first before we dive into solutions. So I hope that by asking this question to yourself, that you can perhaps frame what you're looking to get out of this and then choose what resonates with you most based on maybe problems or goals, specific goals that you have. So I always like to start with a little bit about me because this will help you understand why these ideas are so important to me. So I was very much that introverted perfectionist in the classroom, and I'm a processor. I need time to formulate my response before saying it aloud. So having to raise my hand or being called on in class was really challenging for me, and it took a toll on me personally. It wasn't that I didn't want to contribute. It wasn't that I didn't have anything to say. It was that I didn't have the right platform. So on that spot thinking is never where I do my best. I'm an analyzer. I need time to think through things before speaking out. And that's where I found huge solutions in tech tools. So that's really what I've become very passionate about sharing. As a teacher, I've been motivated to create a classroom environment that I feel I needed as a student, but didn't have. For one, the technology we have readily available today wasn't something that I could have even dreamed of having when I was in school. And I think this is very important because the tools themselves don't do anything magical, but the possibilities they create are. Technology has really transformed how I can interact with my students and how they can express themselves to me. And that's what I want to share with you today. So obviously, a huge solution for me has been Mote. And one of the questions that I like to ask, and before diving into the tool, I want to anchor this work in lesson design. So for me, I'm constantly asking myself this question: how can we cultivate compassion in our classrooms through the intentional integration of technology into the design of our lessons? Again, it's not so much about the tools themselves, but rather why we use them and how we infuse them into our classes and our classroom culture. So if you would like to interact with me, if you're on and you want to interact, go ahead and tell me, have you used Mote before? Go ahead and move around the dot. Okay, so we have some people use it often. So maybe a lot of you who are on here today are already Mote superstars. In case you're not and you need to set up your account, I just dropped a link in here. And I believe that will give you some access to some of the premium features. I know there are some questions about what you can do with premium and not premium. I'll tell you, I've used both the free and I've used the paid before, and I'm able to do a ton with both of them. Yes, the premium gives you some more options. I've actually never had a school-wide subscription. I've just had the personal like Eleni was talking about before, that's an option. It gives you more time, gives you some more features, but you can really do so much with Mote, and you can absolutely get started so easily for free, and so can your students, and that's something that I love. So it's really just a Chrome extension, you know, so you can use it anywhere. That's the thing. Like you can use it in Google stuff, but you can also use it outside of Google stuff. And I want to show both of those things today, just a little bit of it. But what I really want to focus on is this idea of tone, student choice. I'm going to focus on three main things first: teacher feedback, student choice, and student communication, which actually there's also parent communication that hopefully you'll be able to see play in. That's what I talked all about in my session last year at MoteCon. Today, I'm really going to focus on the student piece and our relationship building with students. So first, teacher feedback. I think there's just so much power in being able to clearly communicate when we do so with voice. And we can also really make our feedback more efficient. And I want to show you how, because sometimes people say to me, oh my God, if I have to record comments to everybody, that's going to take so much time. I think it depends, first of all, on your personality. Like I find that sometimes I get so tired of just typing everything, and I find that just communicating with voice is actually quicker, and listening to student voice is sometimes quicker for me. That may or may not be the case for you. I think it's really important for you to know yourself and to provide opportunities too for your students who might have different preferences. And this, again, is one of the things that I love about Mote, is because it does provide audio with transcription. And so that transcription piece, which I know I'm jumping a little ahead into the student choice, but that transcription piece allows students to choose if they want to listen, or if they want to read, or if they want to listen and read together. So let's jump into a quick example here. So here is just like a little Google Doc that I have just totally set up to set the scene here. And I have this other extension on. Let me turn it off quickly. All right. So say that we have this example, and this is kind of what it's going to look like. I'm going to copy it over so we can do it together. All right. So say that a student is submitting an assignment to their teacher. Their teacher, me, will be able to give feedback using Mote right in the comments. So say that I want to give a little bit of voice feedback here. All you do is open up the comment as you normally would. And as soon as you have the Mote Chrome extension installed, you'll be able to see this little option here. So you can type as you normally do, right? Or you can choose this little Mote icon. You just click it, and I can leave a quick little voice feedback based on whatever I'm reading. As I'm reading, what the student's writing, I can even scroll, I can be recording. As soon as I do that and press the comment button, you're going to see that you can listen to the playback, and you can also read the playback because it transcribes. Now, there's certain times where maybe it didn't hear you correctly, or you need to just edit the transcript a little bit. Look how easy that is. You just press the edit button and you can easily edit. So let's see. I can just take out the and there. I can see there's a couple little mistakes here because I was pausing. But once you're done, you just press save and it will update it right away. And then when students go, they're going to have the same exact view. Just so they have that Chrome extension installed, they'll be able to press play. I'll tell you, I know their question always comes up, what if my students don't have the Chrome extension installed for some reason, or it got uninstalled? They'll still see a link to the Mote. It just won't embed it so beautifully here. So it'll always be available for them. It will always be viewable for them, but it looks nicer. Mote is optimized when everybody has the Chrome extension installed. All right. So we got that. They can play. They can play and they can read at the same time. I'll tell you that this, when Mote came out and I saw that it did the transcription alongside the recording, I was like instantly so excited, because before this point, there really wasn't a way to do that so easily. And it was a big pain point for the English teachers that I work with, because they said to me that they loved the voice ability, but a lot of times when students went to revise their writing, that they needed to be able to see the text because they were revising the writing, and they needed to be able to see what was written at the same time because they were trying to incorporate that revision as they were reworking their assignment. And so this really gives you the best of both worlds, right? So students can listen to you first, hear that expression, they can hear that tone. Maybe a critique that you have might sound very severe if it's just written as text, but if they can hear your tone, it feels more friendly and more welcoming. So they can listen, and then when they go to make their revisions, they can also be reading it so that they can kind of see both things side by side. So I think that's super helpful when we're talking about student choice too. All right, so the comments are there. What I also love is it is a feedback loop. So it's not just that I'm creating the voice note as a teacher, say that I leave some feedback, and then the student, maybe they have a clarifying question. Well, they can go in to that same thing and they can reply just like they would reply to any other comment. And they can reply with just text, reply with text. I have a question, and they can leave that here. Or they can also do the same thing that you just did as a teacher. They can reply with voice. Hi, Miss Roshan. I have a clarifying question. If you could please, whatever they want to say. Boom. And now they can be replying with voice too. So they have both options, and it really provides that feedback loop there. All right. Now, the comments, great. I love leaving voice notes in the comments, but you can also embed voice directly into your Google Doc. So how you do that is, there are a couple ways to do that. Here you can add a hypermote. Here you can just click on the Chrome extension. Can you actually see when I click on this? Hopefully you can. And you can just click to record. Here's a quick little voice note. Mote can be used on absolutely any website when you use the Chrome extension. I love that so much. As soon as you're done recording, you press the check mark, you're done. And then it automatically copies that voice note to your clipboard. When you do that, you just, then it, like you do any other like hyperlink, you can paste it in there. It pastes it. And then look at this. When I click on it, boom, right there. That's my new voice note. And because I'm not sure that when I do a screen share, I'm not sure if you can actually see when I pull up the Chrome extension. So in case you can't, I'm going to just take a quick screenshot and show you what I was doing just in case. All right, so let me insert that real quickly so you can see what I was doing, just in case you couldn't see that last step. So all you would do is you would click on the little Mote recording in the Chrome extension menu, and then you can do that absolutely anywhere. So I always like to showcase that because that is how you grab a Mote and you can insert that hyperlink anywhere. If you paste it into Google Docs like I did, or you paste it into Google Slides, then you see it embedded. If it doesn't embed, then it would just open up in another window and you would be able to listen. So I'm going to show some more examples. That's a quick little overview of how I like to use both the commenting feature and the Mote extension itself right in my Chrome menu bar. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, oh, and by the way, you can also reuse all of your motes. If you just go in, you're going to see that all your motes are saved, and you can find your recent motes in there and you can reuse them. So there is that reusability aspect too, that is really helpful. So say that, you need to give feedback that is a little bit more informative for students, right? Like, here's the correction that you need to make. And whenever you have one correction on a piece of student work, you tend to have that same correction that you need to give at least 5 times over. And so if you create one extensive voice recording kind of explaining that improvement, then you can paste it all over the place and you can save these things for later reuse. I love that aspect of being digital, of digital feedback, is there's huge reusability, not just in the same year, but even from year to year, if you want to really record some more elaborate explanations, and you can build that bank over time too, right? All right, so when we get into student choice, I talked a little bit about transcription that I love, but let's dig a little bit more into it. So let me go back here and let's click, let me just have a lot here now. So let me go ahead and delete this, go to a new page, scroll down. Okay, so when we're listening to this, you'll see that students have this ability to, that there's this ability to translate. And so when you translate, that's going to just translate the transcription that you see come up. Obviously, it's not going to like translate my voice note, but it will give some ability, right? So especially you have some English language learners, if you're communicating with parents and you need some more language options, then that's all available here. And I'm just scrolling through to let you see how many different languages are available. It's really wonderful. So let's just choose Greek really quickly. And then you can see that we can listen. And it's going to be obviously my same voice recording, but it's going to then have it all translated. All right. So let's go back to English here. And then, yeah, it's just instant, right? And then the other thing is the playback speed. So I really like this, that you can speed up and you can even slow down the playback speed. So say a student's learning, you know, a new language, they're in a world languages class. Sometimes slowing it down is really helpful. In other classes, students might do better by actually listening at 1.2x speed, 1.5x speed. And so they have those playback options right in Mote. So again, I think that's a super powerful feature there. And then the transcription, and they can read and or listen. And I emphasize and or because they can do both at the same time. Now, the next thing that I want to dig into is for student communication. So say I do have a slide here of presenting asynchronously. If you would like to read a little bit more about a really cool collaboration that I had a chance to do with one of my visual arts teachers at our school, where students used Mote to, as a first part of their presentation process, go ahead and check that out. The link is on the slide. Again, if you're in the Pear Deck, you're going to get all these slides. You'll have access to all of them, so you can join that. But I kind of explain this in very detail about how this example works and how the teacher set it up and how the teacher had students kind of explain their art that they had done. So they took a picture and they explained it. But then there was also this whole peer critiquing process. And that peer critiquing, again, could happen with text comments or with voice comments, depending on what the student chose that they wanted to do. So if you would like to check that out, definitely do. But also for building presentations asynchronously, not just for presenting, but as students are preparing a presentation, say they're doing something collaboratively. You know, back in the day when I was in school, if I needed to do something with a friend, I needed to call them on the phone. I'm aging myself, I know, but I had to call them on the phone and we had to work through things. But here we can do it really asynchronously. So let me go ahead and take you to Google Slides and show you what I mean. So if students are all on and say that, you know, they're building out a slide and they're like, I don't know, I need a new picture here. I don't know exactly what I'm going for, or they're writing some text and they haven't quite finished their slide and they need help from their partner. Instead of needing to do that in real time right away, they can just go ahead and leave a comment here and leave a voice note to the partner. Hey, could you maybe find a better image for me here? I need some help building this slide. Whenever you get a chance to work on this, this is what I need. And so they can leave that voice note, leave the comment, and then their partner can go in and really hear. They could reply back. And so it could be kind of like, you know, leaving little voice notes to each other back and forth as they're working together, instead of it, again, just being text. It might be easier way to communicate. My last example that I want to share is bringing in Canva. So I love Canva for back to school. Again, this is what I presented last year on, was kind of sending a communication home for parents. So you can send a little newsletter home and you can easily add a little voice note. And that just makes it more approachable, friendly, and also it has those translation features that are built right in. So again, if you record the voice note from the Chrome extension, like I was showing before, if you record your voice note, you click to record. After you're done recording, you just go ahead and you paste in the link. So you get the Mote link and then you just paste it anywhere. Look at what happens. So it embeds directly in here. And look at this beautiful embedded player in Canva. When we press play, so we get that, you get the voice feedback, you get the transcription that's pulled right up. Again, you get the ability to translate in different languages, and you get the playback speed. All that's built in. So you could do a newsletter too. You could do like every month or so, send a newsletter home, what you've been doing this week, what's coming up soon, and you can add in a little bit of voice, which just adds that personal touch. And then the last thing that I want to share is you could do a little spelling like practice for students, but you can actually say the words out loud. So you can do the same thing by recording the voice. The only thing that you want to remember to do if you're doing this is remember to delete the transcription for these. So when you're recording the voice note, just go in, and you know how I was editing the transcription before, tweaking it a little bit, just delete the transcription for this, because obviously you don't want students to see how to spell the word. But this would be a great way for students to be able to practice their spelling because they can replay it over and over. All right, I know we're getting to the end. Make sure, if you haven't already, check out the Mote Learning Zone with so many templates and ideas from amazing Mote ambassadors and other Mote enthusiasts. And if you would like to type any questions into the Pear Deck, you can. If you have some that you've left in YouTube, we're going to get to those. But I want to wrap up, and as well, so I'm going to move this into a student-paced mode so you can move through the rest of the slides if you would prefer typing here. Just have a little bit of inspiration for me, and then a quick shout out to the artist, Michael Summers, who designed both the cover art for my book and also was the inspiration, obviously, behind my slide design. So I do want to give some credit there. And if you want to leave any questions here, and then I have some Mote tutorials that I've personally made. That's the last slide. You can click on them. You can save them for later. But that's all I've got. We still have 5 minutes for some questions. If you have any, let me know. But also feel free to reach out to me afterwards. You can reach out to me on social media or on my website.